My girlfriend has always been a creative type. When we first started talking, it seemed like the conversation would always shift towards either sketching, drawing, or painting. I found it admirable. I love that she had something that meant so much to her, something she could be passionate about. The more time went on, the more that passion grew. It wasn't until we started dating that she felt comfortable enough to show me her work, though. I love her more than anything in the world, but good Lord, I hate to say it, she was not good. Her shades were off, her lines were crooked, her portraits bordered on stick figures. Of course, I didn't want to let on exactly what I thought of what she was showing me, but I can only pretend so much. That's the thing, though. Anytime I offered her advice, she'd get so defensive. She was just so convinced that she was going to be the next big thing in the art world. Of course I wanted her to succeed, but in order to do that, she'd just have to listen to me. I'm not an artist myself, but even as just an everyday Joe Schmo, I could still see where she was falling short. I'd nudge her, critique her in the nicest way possible I could muster, and it only led to her becoming more closed off with her work. Unfortunately, the more closed off she became with her work, the more closed off she became in general. It was like her main talking point, and here I was, feeling like an asshole for taking that away from her. I tried apologizing to her and explaining that I was just trying to help her, but she'd just keep that same blank expression on her face. "I'll try to get better for you." That's all she'd say to me. I wanted to believe her, but it seemed like she wasn't even trying anymore. I never saw her sketching, I never saw her drawing, and I never saw her painting. It created this friction in our relationship that made every situation feel tense. We didn't even argue. We just try and converse awkwardly before we both went back to our phones. At the peak of her withdrawal, that's when she started taking classes. She didn't seem excited about it. She didn't seem eager to be better. She seemed like she was doing it out of spite, like she was defeated but ready to prove me wrong. She'd be gone 3 days a week from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And after about a month of this, she started bringing home her work. She never showed it to me. I'd just find colorful canvases hanging up around the house. In the kitchen, in the living room, hell, even the bathroom had a few. She had definitely been improving. Her lines were straighter, her shades were more on point. Her paintings wowed me rather than making me force out a fake smile or, "That's so good, honey." At first, she was bringing home paintings of landscapes, mountain ranges, ocean horizons, forests. Then it turned into infrastructure, castles, mansions, shacks, and sheds. Then it was people. The most detailed portraits she had ever produced. Her mom, her dad, her teacher from class. I wish that's where it would have stopped. She had proved me wrong. She had convinced me. She had nothing else to prove. But it didn't stop there. She couldn't have just been happy with the progress she had made. I came home from work one day to find the first painting she had done of me personally. It had been hung up along with the dozens of other random paintings in our living room. I saw it and immediately became sick to my stomach. It was me, just disassembled. My head was in one part of the canvas. My legs and arms sprawled out across the painting, with the most gruesome depictions of gore I had ever seen her produce. I heard her humming to herself in the bedroom. I approached her carefully as she sketched wildly in her sketchbook. "Honey," I whispered, "why did you do that painting of me?" Continuing to hum without even looking up from her sketchbook, she responded, Just how I was feeling today," as she continued scribbling on her page. In the weeks that followed, more and more pieces began to pop up around the house, each one depicting different versions of my death. She never seemed angry or agitated. She just seemed distant but at peace, and that's the part that hurts me. She seemed to have this obsession with dismemberment. In every piece, I was dismembered in some way or another, held together by wires, forced to be a scarecrow. One showed me to be the ornament strewn about our Christmas tree. At this point, there's at least a dozen of them. But that's not the part that concerns me. What concerns me is that I've been waking up with outlines drawn around the circumference of my legs and arms, my neck and torso, like she's figuring out a design. She always denies any involvement whenever I question her, but who else could it be? Does she think that I'll believe I'm just doing this to myself? I don't know what to do. I just wanted her to be the artist I knew she could be. I'm eating breakfast when my eldest son appears in the doorway. He's smiling, which is unlike him. Usually my eldest is a little shit in the morning. I was scrolling through Facebook over my morning coffee, and he jumped into the seat opposite. I greeted him with a patient smile. Have you taken your medication? After several ADHD assessments, my son was taking Adderall daily. His smile was wide, too wide, practically crawling off his face. Nope. Jax stood up, and I admit I was a little taken aback. He walked over to me, his hands behind his back, before whipping out a small gift wrapped in sparkly paper. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I took the gift, my heart swelling. Mother's Day was a month ago, and my children put together their allowance and bought me a brand new vase. Jax rolled his eyes through the whole gift-giving thing. While my other children were hugging me, my eldest steered clear, only offering me a sickly grin. Jax Sinclair would be estranged if he didn't live with me. I tried everything. Therapy for both of us, attempts to bond with him. I even took him to Italy for a mother-son trip, hoping a week away together might change things. The little shit ran away and tried to buy a ticket to New York using my card. I spent 3 hours at customs proving he was my son while he sat there, silently seething because he wasn't getting the attention he wanted. By that point, I was desperate. I bought him a PS5. At first, he actually seemed happy with it. Then I found it dumped in the trash. So my 15-year-old son randomly handing over a Mother's Day gift 1 month after Mother's Day was a red flag. I mentally went through my mom checklist. Did he want anything? No, Jax never asked for a cent. I had to force him to even consider birthday and Christmas gifts. And even then, he refused to unwrap them. Did he need anything? For breakfast, he usually made himself cereal and coffee. I started buying him little store-bought canned iced coffees, and he magically decided he hated them. I heard some boys his age were talking about the new Grand Theft Auto. Could this be his attempt at asking me for it? Mom. Jax's voice snapped me out of it, slicing through my thoughts. I didn't realize I was crying. I took the gift, swallowing my questions. Thank you, sweetie, I whispered, blinking back tears. I couldn't keep the smile off my face. Maybe his father had put him up to it. Either way, a simple gesture of affection for my son had made my entire year. Running my fingers over the wrapping paper, I noticed it was perfectly wrapped. Is this just from you, darling? Yeah. My son smiled wider. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I was about to open it before my husband walked in. Morning. He made himself coffee, his curious eyes glued to my gift. What's that? Nothing. Jax surprised me with actual words, snatching the gift back. Jax got me a Mother's Day present, I grinned, taking the gift back. How sweet. The kids already celebrated Mother's Day, my husband sighed, ripped the gift from my hand, and dumped it in the trash. Something snapped inside me, bile filling my mouth. I swallowed my protests, pasting on a wide smile. Go upstairs and get ready for school, he snapped at Jax. Jax didn't move. I want Mom to open her Mother's Day present, he said, his lips curled, eyes narrowed. Right in front of you. My gut twisted, my chest aching suddenly. Fuck. Was that why? I was far too aware I was sweating, my heart in my throat. Did my son... Oh God. Did he know? Go upstairs, honey. I spat out before I could choke it back. Now. Jax nodded, turned around, and ran upstairs. Teenagers, my husband laughed, pecking me on the cheek. Ignore him. He'll grow up one day. Yeah, I whispered. Of course he will. I laughed. It's just... Jax. When he left to shower, I fished my son's gift from the trash. I had half a mind to throw it away. Of course, he knew. Tearing through the paper, I found exactly what I expected. A DVD marked in bright red pen. I hate you. I ran upstairs to my bedroom, locked the door, and slid the DVD into our ancient player. As I pressed play, my hands were clammy. How much did my son know about my affair with his math tutor? It had just been a blip. I'd lost my mind for a few months and done things I regretted. Jax liked his math tutor, and I took that away from him. But how the fuck had he managed to film it? Was this blackmail? What did he want? The screen lit up, and I recognized the location. It was our garage. Years ago. The date at the bottom of the screen read 15/09/2016. 3 small figures illuminated in harsh white light. Annalise, Sammy, and Jax. All right, my husband's voice growled. Repeat what I said one more time. He strode over to Jax. What is your name? The small boy squeezed his eyes shut. Zach. I jumped when my husband grabbed his chair, tugging it. I said, what is your name? Jax, the little boy squeaked. It's Jax. And? My husband demanded. Fucking speak, kid. We want to go home, the little girl whispered. Please, can we? I said speak, my husband snapped. You're my daddy, Jax whimpered. And that woman, he squeaked. Mommy. The woman is my mommy. My husband stepped back, and so did the camera. Good. He turned to me, who was filming. Do you like them, sweetheart? The camera panned to my glistening eyes and a wide smile. Happy Mother's Day. The halls of the home were always cold and desolate. Tile lined the floor, and the walls were painted an off-white color, void of any warmth. Not just in temperature, but atmosphere. It was somewhat of a hospital setting after all, but some decorations would be nice for those spending their last years here. Some of our more able-bodied residents take walks outside or walk the halls with nurses, arm in arm, who assist them in some day-to-day living tasks. I was going to check on an older resident with less mobility than those walking around the depressing halls. She often didn't get visitors, and the only time she interacted with people was when the nurses checked up on her. Surprisingly, the residents here didn't often get visitors. I removed the bedpan from under the old woman, disposing of its contents. I used to go to the bathroom by myself, you know. The woman told me. Her voice sounded weak and brittle, but warm and sweet. But her smile could light up the dark halls of this establishment. I gave her a small smile, but the truth is, I was afraid to get old. Some of our residents suffer from dementia or just need help with basic everyday tasks. The thought of growing old and having a mean nurse taking care of me was a nightmare. Most here didn't treat the elderly with enough care. My daughter is coming to visit me today, she said, placing her ice-cold hand on my arm to get my attention before I left. I looked down at her. That's great, Mary. I'd never seen you have a visitor before, I said cheerfully, but I couldn't hide the pity in my eyes. She was old, 86, and had lost most of her faculties over her body, and I was afraid she would die alone in this home with no one but me showing her kindness. A knock at the door caught my attention. I walked over, opening the door to see a young woman who looked like a younger version of Mary, with a small button nose, round cheeks, and brown curly hair that fell just below her shoulders. I greeted her, making way to let her into the old woman's room. When the girl passed me, I got a chill that ran up my spine, and I shivered. The room was noticeably colder. Oh, Katie, this is my daughter Isabella. Please come say hi, she's such a doll. Mary exclaimed warmly as Isabella went to take a seat next to her, taking the old woman's hands. This was the brightest I had seen Mary in a while. Hi, Isabella. I don't believe we have met before. I'm Katie, I said, extending my hand to shake hers. As she took my hand, I felt she was freezing, which didn't make sense if she had just come from the hot summer sun. The nursing home stayed cold, but she wasn't in here long enough for her hand to be cold like that. Oh, hello. Thank you for taking such good care of my mom, but I'm going to be taking care of her for now. This made no sense. This girl never came to see her mother for years, and one day shows up offering to discharge her from the facility. I must not have hidden the surprised expression and annoyance on my face when she asks, "Will that be a problem?" She tilted her head. I could tell she was a bit upset with my reaction. I shook my head no before telling them I'd let them be. I walked over to the front desk. The woman sitting there already looked annoyed. "Mary has a visitor? Is she being discharged?" I asked. "That woman has not had a visitor in years. She has no family left, you know," she said. Her glasses sat at the tip of her nose, her eyes piercing right through me. "What?" "A young woman just came in and told me she would be taking care of Mary." This made no sense. No one could come in without first being signed in. I wondered if someone else had signed Isabella in when I got a code on my pager. It read, ICD-10. Someone had just died. I hurried off without a word, turning the corner and racing down the hallway to see it come from Mary's room. My heart felt heavy knowing I had just been in there minutes prior. When I got in, her daughter was nowhere to be seen. Where did her daughter go? I asked the staff as I looked around the room and checked her bathroom. Daughter? Honey, her daughter died years ago in a car accident. She looked up at me, and we shared the same puzzled expression. But I knew. I wasn't afraid, but hopeful. I knew she didn't die alone. Maybe none of us truly die alone. Marcus died on a Tuesday. Heart attack at 43, at his desk, which is the kind of thing that makes everyone in the office buy standing desks for a week and then forget about it. IT deactivated his credentials that Friday. I know because I was co-credited on the email, which is why I don't understand the activity logs. I'm a systems administrator. Checking logs is literally my job. 3 weeks after Marcus died, I saw his username pull a report from our HR database at 2:14 a.m. Not a scheduled report, a manual query. I flagged it to my manager. She said it was probably a ghost process, some automated task that hadn't been cleaned up properly. That made sense. I let it go. Then it happened again. Different report, different time, but the same username. I pulled the full access history. Marcus's credentials had been used 11 times since his death. Always between 1 and 3 a.m. Always pulling personnel files. Always the same small group of employees. My file was in that group. I escalated it to IT security. They investigated and found nothing. No breach, no active session. The logs showed the access, but the access, technically, had not happened. Last Thursday, I stayed late to finish a deadline. I was the only one on the floor. At 2:14 a.m., my monitor flickered and a report opened on my screen. I hadn't touched anything. The report was a single page. Marcus's personnel file. Termination reason listed as cardiac event. At the bottom of the page in the notes field, something had been typed. The notes field had been empty the last time I checked his file. It said, "Tell them it wasn't." I haven't been back to the office since.